What are shelters, Los, as we said in Spanish?
Los.
Places to take shelter?
They're like...
Actually, they were bus terminals because they're set up all along the route.
There's one next to it. Notice that here, next to each one, there's a bus station. Here we can see it better, a bus station. And while they're waiting, if something happens, people come to that bunker.
Exactly. If the siren goes off or something like that, it's to take cover. It's for the siren. It's to protect yourself from a missile that's coming, not to protect yourself from people throwing things at you.
Exactly.
Or that someone might pull up beside you in a vehicle and attack you with a missile or weapon. In other words,
there's something else that's good to emphasize, which is that when they come to the party, it's not like they had it planned. We're going to attack the party. Because what people believe is that they came across this party and didn't really have it in mind. Why? Because they were focused on all the kibbutzim along the way. Was that their goal? So when did they come across it here? On one hand, some say that... On one hand, thank you.
And
on the other hand, it's a shame they were found because they spent a lot of time with busy trying to exterminate all these people who were found here.
We will focus on two areas, as discussed, since it's a large topic. Number one, on the place where it talks about the containers, the story of the containers. And number two, on the story of the ambulance. That place, here in the center, was where the stage was located. The stage.
The main stage.
A lot of people, exactly. Some people don't know, or they're misinformed. And in fact, we've even seen it in some pulpits where they say Israel paid the price for their sin. Why? Because here, in this place, you could see a stage with a Buddha. Do you remember?
Yes, and
so many said yes, Israel prostituted itself and sinned, and that punishment came from God. That's why that scene is here, exactly where all the flags are, because that's where many horns were found.
Also,
underneath police officers. Unfortunately, young girls who were serving in the army who came to protect because they were sent to protect the place. It's like every time you hold an event, they tell you a certain number for every 1,000 people.
Service, so many bathrooms,
How did they decide on things like plastic waste, the number of police, patrol cars, and ambulances? So many people who died weren't people who came to a party.
Yes, they were coming.
To work. Another person was coming to create.
To sell.
Because
they sold their crafts, special items, or food, running businesses, and providing services. Like all events, right? When you know there's also an evangelistic campaign, that's there too, of course.
It will come together, booksellers and food providers.
The bookstore.
The food, sandwich, hamburger, and everything else are all here.
Tell us a little more. There is...
Good people who found the last one know the last one. Good. Actually, the day was starting. It was 6:30 in the morning when the day began. And from here, from this angle, Laura, exactly here, behind us, there, in that direction, behind these trees, you could see all the missiles that were coming out of the territory of Gaza.
But they also came over to this side, not only breaking through the fences, but also with that little carting plane, that little plane.
Yeah. No, I don't know what it's called.
That one.
Yes, they're the ones that have, like...
the ruedas?
A fan in the back.
Exactly, and...
boom,
they take it away. They have...
different names in...
different languages.
But yes.
That was also a way that there were...
several photos and...
videos where the kids would take a photo when everything was just starting, and you could see the kids in the background. They hadn't noticed. But you could see that those little planes, so to speak, each one piloted by a terrorist, were also coming into our country that way.
Imagine we're here because of those people, many of them. Today we have documents from many phones that were active, just like ours. And then, suddenly, oh, what's that? What's that? What's that? A missile, the siren. And from the main stage, there was a young man appearing, saying, "The party's over, the party's over." Each one
grabs
their cars and start to leave. The signal
of why
was the siren, right, Lay?
siren?
Now 2 seconds and let's go to that place just to explain about this party. It wasn't that Israel sinned. This is an event that was held in different parts of the world, and it just happened to be Israel's turn. On the schedule, it happened that this year it was Israel. Just like, for example, I don't know, let's use someone well known to many people. Madonna. Celine Dion.
She does the...
Tour. Her tour. Not all these Michael Jacksons who did their tours. Let's use Hilson. Let's use, I don't know, some band that you know, okay? Every time they arrived somewhere, they had an annual schedule. Today we're playing in Argentina, tomorrow in Bolivia, and then Australia. This was a similar natural event focused on playing music. To have sound in nature, in the trees, and the earth, and everything else. It wasn't a closed building. Here it is. Because we know many people came from Mexico, Australia, and Colombia. People who weren't Jewish, no.
citizens, but who...
Met their death by attending that party and event, right? No.
This doesn't mean that we're justifying those parties, which are more...
From any point of view, we do not agree with these kinds of events. That doesn't...
Just play music there, but...
The issue.
Is that everyone throws these parties. So it's a...
Bit unfair.
For them to say that Israel is...
No, it wasn't God's judgment.
Got angry with Israel because in...
Reality then. It wasn't God's judgment on the Jewish people. If God judges them, he does so differently, not by having outsiders killed.
Obviously,
Not by killing people. As for the enemy, he'll first warn and inform them. The Bible explains how he will do it, and it's already written, so why not simply accept it? In fact, you don't need to throw a party to prove that you're far from God.
Obviously.
They were all already gone, still.
And
Doesn't mean that... So if that's the case, if that's how it is, then we would have punishments from God everywhere. God would be punishing people all over the place, in every country. So that theory that God punished the Jewish people for this event and for Buddha and for everything else is wrong. It's not real, so don't get confused by any of that. Let's see if we arrive at our destination and see they're working. Dolores ready. Let's head over. What is it that exactly are we seeing, Dolores?
in Hebrew, we call it a mehola. In Spanish, a
Container.
container.
Well, no.
So,
Container, I don't know if it's a container because...
it's open. Here they call it the container.
Yes.
Actually, it's what you put behind the truck.
Ah,
A kind of container. This is...
to collect all the trash from places where it's something massive, right? Or when there's also a construction somewhere. These containers are for taking away all the construction waste or when there are massive events. They are also used in hotels when they have a lot of trash, they use them. So
They are open.
on top, they are open so you can throw the trash in. And they also have an open door for...
In summary, to try to understand what we are seeing here in front of us. It was the day of the event. The event had started on a Friday, approximately at 11 p.m. Everyone gathered here, okay? Were they coming here? Many young people arrived from that direction, just like you. Cars come, park, and they'd leave their cars here. And they would head toward the center where the stage is.
They started...
To set up the tables, the food, the sails, and everything else. And this thing we have here, this yellow thing, as we said, container, bin, whatever you want to call it, was for throwing away the waste. The event starts at 11 p.m. By midnight to 2 a.m., there was already waste. Trash, 6:30 in the morning, as we said. The first sounds of the sirens start to be heard up here. Okay, and that's when people start, the young people in particular, begin to not understand what's happening and start running. Some get into their cars to protect themselves, others run into the desert to hide wherever they can, here, among whatever is there. Small trees, already.
At first, they didn't realize the terrorists were coming, but later they did.
At first they thought that
It was just a regular siren, simply.
just one of those sirens that goes off from time to time, in August in Israel. Then, They start to run, they start to look for a place to take cover, and the hours go by. The army doesn't come, the police don't come to show up. The thing is, you have to understand what it was. Number one, it was a Saturday. It was a day of rest. Number
two, it was
one of the important closing feasts of tabernacles, meaning it was a double holy Saturday, because the closing of tabernacles fell exactly on the same day, Saturday. There were 2 Sabbaths at once, so there were fewer police and soldiers around as they spent time with their families. Everything was planned for when they were going to attack.
Because they said,
the enemy, now they're celebrating a feast to their God. Let's go with our God and attack them. The same thing that happened
on the day
of atonement. The same trap. The enemy always knows when he'll attack
Israel. And
so this is where he comes into the picture. The improvement or the container, because some who went to the desert, some young people decide to get into the trash.
And
then they leave. Between the bags. In some videos we see some get inside and cover themselves with the bag. And you can hear around where we are walking, where we are standing now, armed people speaking in the enemy's language. Seeing what they had in here.
Checking all the places, all the hiding spots, everything there was and could be, just to be able to kill even the
last one. So
they checked everything.
Inside, total silence.
Obviously,
because you could hear the voices. Imagine being in there. We're talking about just a few months ago. There were people alive in there. As we keep walking through this place, right? It gets tougher because just now, for example, we walked. And exactly, there was a girl who was counting. She was just sharing her testimony with 2 people. At one point we turned around and I was left standing still, almost frozen, with many people around. Because they wanted to hear what she was sharing and exactly what she was telling us, that she had been a part of that October 7th. She was there. She is one of the girls who managed to get out alive, and since around 6:30 in the morning when everything had started. She says she only managed to get out of that place at 2 in the afternoon. Obviously when she left, all of this was, smoke. There was fire. There were screams. But at some point there was silence. Because there was nothing left. There was nothing. So those who managed to escape did. Those who died, and the only ones left were some police officers who happened to arrive a little earlier. And we must also remember that not everyone who seemed to be soldiers that day were actually soldiers.
Because
these people, the terrorists speaking, disguised themselves as soldiers. They took the clothing. It looks like they must have caught and killed a soldier along the way, and then dressed as soldiers. And when, of course, when you and I see soldiers, do you feel calm because you say they're ours, our people? They arrived at the place, they didn't speak, they just arrived making signs and whatever, and if you don't know the soldiers' signals, you won't understand. Do you realize they're not soldiers from here? But in their desperation, they didn't pay attention to the signs and kept making signals. That he was a soldier from here. He wasn't a soldier from here. They saw the uniform, they saw the color, and they thought they were from here. And in the end, they weren't, and they met their death. One of the sad stories we also have in this place is the story of the ambulance. There are several in each place here. There were more than 300 soldiers, young men, who lost their lives in this place. Many of them were also kidnapped. To this day, while we are making this video, while this video is airing today, some of them are still inside. We hope that at some point when this video is over, they will no longer be there and we can see them among the living and not count them among those who stayed here. So we still think that possibly those who managed to take them, maybe they took them, but we can still see them among the living. In
other words, they
also have
Let's remember that they also have many bodies, even those they killed themselves. And from here, they
Took them.
dead. And also we know that among those on the other side, there are many who have died, they have the bodies. So that also brings uneasiness to parents since they can't provide a proper funeral. So that's also a source of distress.
Look, I'm gonna turn the camera around a bit here so you can see this sign there. He's telling us the story of the ambulance. As you can see, that burned vehicle was an ambulance. We have two images, a clearer one above and a larger one below. Remember, we always have the small map on the side. But what it's telling us is that on October 7th exactly, immediately after the missiles start flying around here in the air, they start to appear. The party stops. We said those young people go on stage and announce the event is over, go home. And then many of them, those who were here celebrating that event, started running to their cars, started looking for their cars, and from there began to move in their cars. And just a few, very few, managed to escape because there wasn't much traffic anymore. It wasn't a bunch of cars leaving. Some who were maybe quicker to make the decision to say, we're leaving now, we're not staying for things to get worse. Or maybe thinking this is going to pass, because sometimes that happens. You don't always think that it's going to pass. It's something temporary. It's going to pass. It's going to pass. But some said, let's get out quickly. So those who left quickly managed to get out, but some of them right at the exit here. We are very close to the exit of what is known today as the death route, Route 232. They ran into Hamas terrorists. So, at 8:15 in the morning, we were told that those terrorists had just arrived at the parking area where the vehicles were. It's this place where we are now, called Rain, and it says that here they ran into the police. These terrorists started to have a confrontation with the police, and a fight broke out between both sides. And there was an ambulance here, so that ambulance. Around 9:10 in the morning, you could see these soldiers arriving, who were actually terrorists disguised as soldiers. And inside the ambulance, there were a lot of young people. When I say a lot, I mean more than 10. To be specific, 20 of them were hidden inside the ambulance. Inside, underneath, and on top of the ambulance, 20 young people were hidden. When these people arrive dressed as soldiers, those others think that the army has finally come to help us. But it was nothing. They grab him and throw grenades inside the ambulance. And one of them has a bazooka, which is known as an ARP, and if he fires the bazooka directly at the ambulance, it sets it completely on fire. And 18 out of the 20 lose their lives in that. At that moment, to reach. To escape. Hiding miraculously. We have another story, and of the many we have here, and that we said we wanted to tell. But now we're going to go to another place after this one, because here it's endless. A lot of stories and an endless number of stories.
Unfortunately, sad ones.
Each one of the
Kids, just like we talked about the Mehola topic, the kids who also passed away inside the ambulance and below and above, each one has their own story, their own messages with their family. So it's an ocean of trying to rescue each one of those names and to be able to remember them.
Just a small, maybe even tiny story or testimony of one of them who was there. A girl known as Janine Gabay. Janine, it is said that at the moment we have her memorial, it's over there, behind. That was tough. What you just heard. Do you know what it is?
What is it?
Is it a... What's it called? Israeli tank? Me?
I imagine it's Israel.
That's heading over there. Possibly even today, we have to remember that we're at 2,000 meters.
Off
the borderline. Many might tell us now, get out of there already. And the truth is that it's the most smart thing to get out of here already. But you know what? Nowadays, this whole area isn't really dangerous anymore. There's no danger here with so many soldiers around. So, for someone to get here where we are, it's very difficult for anyone to reach where we are nowadays. And for them to launch a missile over us, it's possible. But remember that we also have the Iron Dome.
But
For them to walk here physically, we have the Iron Dome and also the Golden Dome, Blood of Christ, but mainly the Iron Dome, right? But keep in mind, if someone uses a missile like that, it's very unlikely it'll reach us here. It's right here at this memorial, but we're very close, and obviously there's still activity going on inside. So going back, we were in Yeni. She was one of the 20 people who were inside the ambulance, and she had been injured. When she sees the ambulance, she comes to seek help inside the ambulance, and sees that there were other people hiding inside the ambulance. Paramedics were also inside the ambulance, hiding because they had come to work.
let's remember them.
Who had already been here all night. The ambulance wasn't normal because some
Person,
might have breathing problems. It's normal to have an ambulance at every event, at every mass event, sometimes even more than one ambulance. So it was normal for that ambulance to be there, and it was normal for the paramedics to be here, so they were here. When she arrived, they saw her wound, and her wound wasn't urgent enough for them to help her right away. So they told her to wait outside for a little while. Because we have other more urgent cases to take care of, so they start attending to other more urgent cases. Meanwhile, she was out there. And what do we have today about her story? We have approximately 18 videos that she managed to record, and she was in contact with other people. In the end, the story goes that nobody knew where she was. In the end, it was unclear whether she stayed inside or outside the ambulance. Contact with her was lost. The last communication with her was lost through that phone. It was around 8:20 in the morning. 47 days. She was considered missing for 47 days. Remember that back when all that happened on October 7th, it was like, we have this many missing and this many kidnapped. She was among the missing. The disappearance was 47 days, until they finally managed to discover where she was. Unfortunately not alive, but she had been mistakenly buried in a grave with another person. And you're going to ask me, how is it possible for two people to be buried in the same place? It's just that this is the ugly part. The ugly part is that when they came to collect, non-professional volunteer people came, who started to collect the remains of things.
they found.
So just imagine. Imagine if they found not a whole person, but pieces, and put them in a bag, and then they're going to bury that. And then they realized that it wasn't the same person, but rather a group of people in one place. Finally, Janet's case is discovered, and they end up giving her the burial she deserves. No, but that's another story. That leave us breathless. Unfortunately, we're going to leave this place now. It's better for you too. We're getting out of here. We're going somewhere else. And we're going to hit the road. And we're going to keep going. Maybe commenting a bit more, but not as intensely as it was. Because here was the big meeting. The big meeting. We could,
Before
when we are
leaving, we could show her the kalaniot, the flowers.
of
Kalaniot, and
the...
meaning that it also is.
Yes, let's go there. There's a garden they've created here. There were many, how do you say, designers? No.
Artists.
Artists who are working here to bring a message. In this place, just like the Holocaust Museum, everything has a message. Every design, every sculpture, there's a message behind it. Let's go to a garden they just created, and we'll tell you about it there. Notice how they're improving as well. As we walk around, we're seeing that they're constantly fixing it up, aren't they?
Yes, exactly. So that people can also walk through, come without danger, without tripping or anything, so they have the path.
We must also remember that unfortunately this is going to turn into a cemetery. Because that's what it is, isn't it?
It's possible. I hadn't considered it.
Remember, many of these bodies are missing, so there's no one to bury.
Exactly.
You can't fully appreciate this garden from here, but from above, you'll see a star of life. Right? What's Kalanyote? Flowers? Kalanyote is...
A very, very beautiful flower. Well, these are made by an artist. They're made of ceramic and iron so that they last permanently.
Obviously,
In this whole area, spring begins. All the families always come, not just here, but in this whole area, all the kibbutzim, that's where this flower, the kalanet, grows. Naturally, it really is. Do you see the fields like a red blanket? So, they made this Star of David with these flowers here, which are natural. Now, there's something special, right? You know, in the middle are black and white ones. And we didn't see the sign that's written here. But these flowers, they're called Kalanyote Lifnei Ageshem, which means that these flowers are here. They're the flowers that appear before the rain because the rain. It's known that in these places, when the early rain comes and they start to bloom, that's the exclusive time for the Kalanyote. With the rain, they start to grow, but in great numbers, it's so beautiful. Should we make a video one day so that people can
appreciate it? The desert turns red.
totally.
So, by giving it this name in this area, in this group of flowers they've made, they're referring to the fact that all these kids are like flowers that never got to become big flowers because their lives ended this way.
I mean, they were...
In other
Words, they ended up...
blooming in the natural way. Natural.
Exactly. That...
It's after the rain, so
Exactly.
before the rain, before you bloom, we take your life.
Exactly.
This is the reminder. As we keep walking, there are many places we have, again, from Reminder Memorial, right? And here we find ourselves with small trees, which in the future, those small trees will become something like this.
Exactly.
Like that. This is a project. What is Karen Kayavak for those unfamiliar? Lore?
Keren Kayavak is the organization that does reforestation.
In fact, Karen Kayavak is in charge of the reforestation of the state of Israel. Even before Israel was born, it already existed.
Exactly.
Many of the Jews remember a little box they had before Israel became a nation. A little box their parents kept at home.
That
They would put a little coin in, a little savings coin, for Karen Kayavak, for the Karen Kayavak. So what the Karen Kayavak did was collect that money from all the Jewish homes. And they would come and plant trees. They would come and plant trees. They would come and plant trees. Israel is actually one of the nations that have them. It is created by planting, by reforestation, not by natural growth.
right, it's a desert.
So,
Each family has adapted a tree and named it after their child, right? So they can also be remembered.
look over there in the back. Yes,
That's it.
the little green flags mean they're small trees, that. Even you, me, anyone who comes to Israel can simply plant a tree, plant a...
3.
Obviously, all in agreement with the Karen Kayavak. The tree is not from the photos you see. It's not from the kids. People just put it there as a reminder, right? But for example, planting a tree here costs, I don't know, between $18 and $25. I think that's what it costs. You say, I want to plant it, so come plant it and coordinate with the Karen Kayavak. We've even done it many times with our groups that visited us, and they determined the place where to go plant it. It's a beautiful experience. Planting a tree in Israel feels biblical. Well, let's keep walking. We still have more to go.
A little more.
As we left the place where we were at the memorial, as you saw there, the plantations, we started to leave. And we went out in this direction and we came across this street where vehicles are coming toward our right. Right? That's correct. That is, in that direction is north. From Gaza behind us, sorry, the other way around, the south of Gaza is behind us, and the north of Gaza is in front of us. That morning, when the terrorists start to take control, many of the kids start to run. Whether by vehicle or by leaving, hiding among the bushes, or whatever it was. But the vast majority, the goal is to protect themselves. I mean, everyone, let's protect ourselves. Because up until that moment, they didn't know exactly what was happening. Along this entire route, it's very common for us to come across these, the ones you see here. Where's the little bird? These are the ones we just mentioned, the shelters.
Bunker?
The shelters. Is the siren sounding? Normally, is the siren on? Does the person waiting for the bus go inside the shelter? Did the siren stop? Is he still waiting for his bus? The purpose of these shelters is precisely to protect you from a missile coming from above. Of course, but not from a person who is attacking you. Because it doesn't have a door to close. It only has a door to enter and exit, but there's no door to lock yourself inside. Just like this shelter, there are several shelters all along Route 232. This is one of the ones that perhaps has one of the most well-known stories. That we can tell. There's a lot of material in Hebrew, but very little in Spanish. And very few talk about what we're discussing in this video. I know that what we're talking about is tough. What we're talking about is sad. But I think it's necessary for the world to know what happened on that October 7th. That day, as we said, those young people went out, and here a number of young people came in to protect themselves. 27 in total, both men and women. An interesting fact, Laura, which I think is important for us to discuss. One of the security guards was Arab Israeli citizens. And that security guard tried to help those young people who were inside there. And he stands right at the door when these vans come. Visible in the images, with several terrorists on top. So this guy who speaks Arabic tries to tell the kids, stay calm, I'm going to go out and convince them not to hurt you. So he goes outside to persuade these terrorists not to harm them. But the story for him ends at that moment because they kill him right then and there. So who was going to protect them? Only themselves? Outside? Trucks, more than one, with terrorists on top, with the desire and hunger to kill those who were inside. How does the story continue? The story goes that these people grabbed grenades, and then what did they do with the grenades? Did they throw them inside?
Yes.
And from inside, there was a young man who kept throwing them back out. So over and over again, like that, up to about 8 times, according to the testimonies. How do we know this? Because it was documented by the videos from the phones they themselves had. So up to 8 times he took him out. So what did these terrorists end up doing? He grabbed a bazooka. And they pointed at this young man. They end up destroying. the body of this young man. And then they start coming in with more grenades. Some people, including girls and other young people, were still inside. Yes, we're going to go in there. Let's go. Well, let's see what's there. But obviously a few months ago, that place, instead of protecting most people, ended up being the place where many died. The interesting thing is that out of the 27 were taken out alive and put on a truck, and they took them to Gaza. They took this route left and took them to Gaza as hostages. Even now, as this video is made, 3 are still inside. 1 is not alive. 7 made it out alive. And the rest died in there. How did these 7 make it out alive? The testimonies tell us that there were people who threw themselves on top of others to protect them, right?
To save them, exactly.
Can you
remind us of this? There was also marriage and couples.
That the groom simply. When I saw what was about to happen, what was happening, I saw that the boy guard had been killed.
The boy who was who was on duty, who was the one returning the grenade.
So they knew that they were completely defenseless. They would just throw themselves on top of either the girlfriend or the wife to save them. There was one of the attempts where a guy tried to take out the grenade, but instead of taking it out, what he did was he ran away with the grenade, hoping to get their attention so they would go after him and free the others. But that really didn't happen, so the ones who survived, because they were full of, covered with the bodies of their own family members or their own friends or even a stranger they met at that moment.
And that's how they survived.
Covered with, like that.
Shall we go in? They have a lot on their minds, right?
Huh?
What is that?
What is that? What?
What is that?
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 What?
Is that?
What?
Is that?
What is that?
What is that?
Thank you.
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 Vehicle, 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 vehicle. What happened to the vehicles? Where did they go? Let's see.
Let's see now.
I'm gonna look behind us. We are exactly at the place known in Hebrew as Kira Majonayat, which is translated into Spanish. The wall of the vehicles. Why the wall of the vehicles? Because you can see it? We can actually count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and in some cases we might even reach 8. A row of 8 vehicles that are in this lot. We call it that now because the place is so huge. And as you can see, a lot of people also come to see this. As we said, many of the sites we visited today are places that have been turned into memorials. Yes, unfortunately, because a tragedy happened, right? The vast majority of the vehicles we find here, lore, are actually from the festival called Loma, which is Nova. I did a little bit of research about Nova, and it turns out that they call themselves that. The people who celebrate this festival call themselves the Nova tribe. It means that if you take part in these kinds of celebrations, then you're part of that tribe. It's not about blood, it's just like family. You're part of our family, you're part of our tribe, right? And what is the particular thing that they have? It's that it's trans music, electronic music, and it's not live music, it's not live bands. Are they, what's it called, DJs? Famous DJs from certain places created the music now known as Los Jóvenes. Many young people listening to us know what we mean. Trance music, modern music, electronic music, which is created directly from computers.
And you don't need all.
A band behind you, just these DJs who become famous. As we mentioned, I've played in different parts of the world, including Israel. That day was celebrated over 2 days, meaning that October 6th and 7th was the celebration, Friday the 6th and Saturday.
7.
And it coincided exactly with the end of the Feast of Tabernacles. The Jewish festival, it's a non-Jewish festival, the Nova, which takes place exactly during the Jewish festival. Was the Nova celebration Jewish? No, it wasn't. So with this, it's clear that this is not a Jewish celebration. It's simply a celebration of young people who gather in different parts of the world. It was held in Israel. I don't know where it's going to be next year. Actually, this year. Where is it going to be this year? We'll have to see. Those who have information should know and know how they're going to do it because they had that experience before, right? 4,400 people attended that event. 4,400 young people who gathered in that place. Number of cars. We don't have the exact number that are in this place, but there were many vehicles that were either set on fire or shot at. Many of the vehicles we see here have bullet holes, and many others obviously have been shot at, and many others are damaged. They were destroyed when they crashed into each other trying to escape. Did you crash into other vehicles, or did they just misstep on the edge because they were going too fast?
Road. They would.
Flip over and
They turned and.
they broke everything. So that's why we saw a lot of vehicles here. Not only are the vehicles we see here from the party, but there are also vehicles from the city as well.
That's it.
I wanted to tell you
Exactly.
that.
They're cars, since this happened in a chain.
So
Cars were gathered in this place, like
that.
they are all in one place. And
Did you previously say there's a specific number of vehicles? That they went back out onto the streets of Israel again? Of course.
You mentioned the number of vehicles that were affected.
No, because I don't know.
Thousands, but only 62 were the ones that were returned to the street. That is to say, the ones that are burned, obviously, are burned forever. So they're just taken out of service directly, right? Legally. All the cars that are crashed that were involved, not that they participated, but that got involved in all of this, in this whole situation. They were crashed, shot at, crushed.
They are.
All of them here too, they get taken out too, right? Only 62 were the ones that had minor damage and were returned to their owners with permission so they could continue to use them, so they could keep circulating. There's another issue we were looking at. That until not long ago, the police and the SACA came, they kept coming to investigate and take things away. Things they find or DNA remains from these same cars. So they could reconstruct this whole story, the identities of the people. So it's a whole situation where people here can also come and see the cars of their own family members.
That went through.
Because of this issue.
Let's take a little walk around the place and we'll meet here as well. With the story of the ambulance. Exactly. We remember the story of
This young woman.
Yannick and those 18 young people who lost their lives inside that ambulance. Let's walk around. Does this way work? Should we start here? Yes. It's interesting that we just heard one of the guys there explaining in Spanish.
And
They're all young people, not even 20 years old, who came to listen. And this is something really interesting that happens with the Jewish people. I don't know if it happens with other peoples, but it's always important for young people to know what happened to the previous generation, so that they don't learn from sadness, but rather learn to strengthen themselves when it comes to weaknesses. Exactly. Israel has either a strong army or a strong intelligence service. Not because they have money. A lot of people say it's because they have money. They can invest in it. That's not it. It's simply that they come together. They were forced to constantly work on research and strengthen themselves to protect against the enemy. Countries that don't invest in security because they aren't in danger.
but
For this country, always under threat and on alert, investing in that is the only option.
they investigate the route a lot, where it came from, what was the problem in this situation, so they can make a correction and prevent it from happening again. That
Wanted to
show you the
depth. The long line. There are vehicles. Actually, this place wasn't created for this. This was an open area, and when they started removing the vehicles from over there, they said we have to put them in a temporary place.
Oh, so this wasn't a parking lot, not even a...
They said, no, there's a factory next door. Yes, that's why I thought that. And there are factories in the back. So they said, let's put it in a temporary place. When they put it in a temporary place, it ends up staying there permanently. Because, like you said before, we have to start recognizing the vehicles, who they belong to, what's there. We said before that some people or some family members managed to recognize or recover the body and were able to bury their loved one. But there are many others who don't have the body to this day. So what did they do? They took some pieces of fabric from the seat of these vehicles because they found blood. Through DNA, they realized that the friend hid inside there. Because not only were these vehicles here driven by their owners, but they were also vehicles that you would just get inside to protect yourself. Even if you see the car, what if the car isn't yours? You say, I'm gonna get in there for what? Well, try to play dead or protect myself from all these people around me? Many of the vehicles here, also lore that we see, are obviously Israeli vehicles, but there are also non-Israeli vehicles. What do you think if we show which ones are not Israeli?
Okay.
As you can see here, these vehicles that have this sign, each one tells its story. So you can go in, scan this QR code, and then you have the story. These are all Israeli, for example, this vehicle here, this Audi, its story. Nowadays, we say story.
Okay, we're talking.
About months ago, there were 3 young people here. Look at the bullet holes, okay? Can you see them there? There were 3 young people here. In that vehicle, they started to leave quickly. They said, let's go now, let's go now, let's go now. They got into the vehicle, started to drive, and the terrorists shot the driver. See? Death reached them. The boy who was sitting in the back, the 2 who were in the front, both died, and the one in the back pretended to be dead. He threw himself onto the seat below, surrounded by the screams of the Arabs, the terrorists everywhere. And at one point, he lifts his head, the boy who was in the back. When he lifts his head, he sees a terrorist passing by.
Walking by.
Beside him. Thank God the terrorist didn't notice him. He kept his head down, still pretending to be dead. A few minutes later, he heard a police vehicle passing by, and then there was a confrontation between the police officer and the terrorist. The police officer ends up neutralizing the terrorist and then starts searching among the vehicles to see who was still alive. And he manages to get this boy out alive.
And
Takes him away. He's the one telling this story.
told in
This vehicle.
what did
This guy, the owner of this vehicle, made it out alive, but he said I have to go back. He went back because he wanted to rescue more people. He went back, he managed to save 3 more. When he rescued those 3, they ended up killing him there, but the 3 survived.
he saved 3?
And so, many stories like that. Here it is. That's one of the vehicles that came from over there.
From the territory?
Enemy territory, this one and the one back there. These 2 trucks, the white one and the black one, if you can see in the back, we have this, which is like something you see in the movies.
Exactly, the
Mad Max movies, the ones that
go into the workshop behind the house and...
you start building it since this vehicle isn't bulletproof.
No.
It's not, it's a vehicle.
It's normal that
He puts it, like
they did there.
back there they welded.
There for the machine gun.
Of course. This vehicle contained about 15 or 16 terrorists. They'd get in here, up there, and all around.
That's incredible. And
That's how they went, hanging on there, shouting, shooting with that thing, killing people.
look at this one.
From right here next to us, this one too. Check out this vehicle here, also.
Note that this one also has...
The shield,
It has a shield on top.
Besides, bueno,
a support, a metal plate, a strong metal.
Yes, the machine gun support is no longer there, but the shield is still there. And look at how it must have flipped over or crashed. Yes.
For it to end this way, we're talking about a strong vehicle. This really is a strong vehicle. For those who know about trucks, the ones they call La Troca, this is a really, really tough car.
And
That's how it was destroyed. Here we have motorcycles. We've seen many of them riding motorcycles. We don't know if they belong to them, if they were motorcycles they found at the party and just took them and started to leave. Possibly. Obviously, many of them, because some were already coming like that, and others they found along the way. Just like that, look at the vehicle.
How many bullet holes?
It has. If you were hiding in that vehicle, you couldn't tell the story. You wouldn't be able to tell the story. Let's walk over here. This minibus is from the city, specifically from here in Sderot. The ones from the neighboring cities, since almost every day the people from Sderot were also getting missiles, right?
Yes, look over there. If you can see that little caravan.
That little caravan. Some kids also hid inside there. They were watching that story together.
And
It's practically intact. Did you know they were there? They hid there because it was open. They went in and locked it from the inside. And they themselves say that, well, obviously, they stayed quiet the whole time. I don't know. They were in there for several hours. And they heard the noise, the language of the terrorists.
of enemies.
Exactly. They were around. They tried to open the door. They couldn't. They tried to shoot. The bullets didn't go through. They tried to drag her away. It was stuck. They didn't try that. And in the end, they got tired and left, leaving the 4 or 5 kids who were inside
safe and sound.
and I was there. It was the only caravan among all the cars, so you see all the cars, and this was the only caravan that was there.
It was.
And thank God the kids got out with practically, with,
Unharmed, well,
super scared, obviously, but thank God they were saved.
this looks like a Chevrolet Savant. Do we have to break a Chevrolet Savant? Look.
Let's remember that they also came with bazookas and grenades, so that makes one, given their power, especially with gunpowder and more. Also, with the gas tank, electric or gas cars would explode, like, I don't know. That explosion would multiply, right?
And here we have the ambulance. That in that place, the tire was left. They left the ambulance's tire.
At the memorial, the one where we were.
And this is what was left of...
Her. Here.
They put a bazooka on him. And with that bazooka, they went... 18 young men. They died there.
Inside?
Here we have it.
Yep.
We see the map again, lore. Those green lines are the cities, like more.
Nearby cities?
Not Caboose, cities. Cities.
Where we were before was the real party, here.
Exactly. And where we are now, where are we? Here? This is Kybus. We're here.
We are here.
The route is, it's 34, right? And this is the city of Sero. Notice how close they were. Yalzalab
Andarta,
kilometer. The first.
That we had gone to the...
Andarta, where is the first Andarta we were at?
No, you can't see it from here, but it's here. You can't see it, see? You can't see it.
But
We were here.
exactly, okay.
More or less.
Yes.
The truth is, we could say that we're kind of like speechless, right?
In
Actually, you are. What we are going through today is not easy. It's not easy to remember all of this. But, as we said before, at one point we mentioned in the video that there isn't much material in Spanish. That talks about this, that discusses this. And if you want to know what exactly happened here, then you have to come here yourself. And that here, like all these groups around us, that some guide tells them, such and such thing happened, such and such thing happened, such and such thing happened, and maybe in a few months, maybe in a few years. This becomes more like telling it and telling it and telling it. It becomes more like, how would we say, more natural, more something else that happened.
In the
History of the people of Israel. Unfortunately, as we said from its beginnings, the people of Israel, the Jewish people, have to rise up every
day and
justify why. I have to keep living.
it
Sad to
here it's that in this situation that everything is on hold because the story isn't finished yet.
As we record this video, people are still inside.
Kidnapped,
There's a conflict.
north is open, then
It's like,
that leaves you like a question mark. An ellipsis in
we don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow.
it's something that's still not resolved. So that's also very tense and very uncomfortable.
But there is hope, and there is something good. And the good thing is that despite all these tragedies, the people of Israel always come out triumphant. The book of Psalms was exactly what we had all studied. The YouTube channel features a study on Psalms chapter 83. At the end, the psalmist says, God, put all those who come against your people to shame, and finally, let them realize that you are God. In other words, the heart of the Jewish people. It's not about hating, it's not about destroying the planet, it's simply that we want to keep living, we want to be at peace. We're in our promised land and just want to stay here, nothing more. It's about claiming what belongs to them, and the Lord simply takes care of the rest. God is not put to shame, and He will bring order at the time He needs to.
unfortunately, when
Today we have to tell these sad stories in the chapter of Israel's history. And it's not going to be the first, nor will it be the last.
because
Unfortunately, the dark pages continue according to the book of Zechariah.
But let's hope that at least soon we can
Find a solution to this conflict, which Israel is facing today against global terrorism. That
mainly the most important thing is that all the kidnapped people can return and that the bodies are also returned. At least clear that debt. That question and
that they return home? Right. Who needs to return?
exactly.
Very well, family. We hope you like this material. I don't know if liked is the right word. I think the word is we liked it, that you received information.
rather.
And we continue working here at
the land
of Israel as long as we
are allowed to continue.
carrying Israel to your house. So greetings to everyone.
May God bless you. We
See you in a next and new material. Shallow.